Hi there guys, how you doing? So I wanted to do what I usually do in these events, and I wanted to record the entire lot of me going through stage 1 to stage 15, and I did do that. I did actually record everything. And then I realized it was total garbage. Basically what happened was, I was about to get on a flight, and I recorded the first lot just before it came out. I think I got up to about part 7 or 8, and then I got on a flight, flew over back home, back to Perth where I live, from Sydney to see my girlfriend. And then at like 12:30 midnight, I was like, I should finish recording that and upload it before I go to bed. Proceeded to record me doing the rest of the event, just talking garbage. Like I was barely awake, talking absolute incorrect nonsense. I wasn't using a free-to-play setup. I was using like the HD Roxas that I got. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just throw that in there. Why not? Everyone's got that, right? It's nonsense. It's complete nonsense. So basically, I'm just gonna get rid of it. I reckon the only ones of these you guys are gonna have trouble with are potentially some of the last ones. So basically, what happens is, if you don't already know, 15 events. The later ones all reward you with at least one copy of the Maleficent B medal. In fact, yeah, there's 2 copies each rewarded in the last 3 levels. That's great. However, if you can't get them all just yet, so you can see here, for example, towards the end, the conditions become you need to use 5 or more reverse medals in your setup. For some people, including maybe myself, that just might not be viable. Like, you might not be able to pass it if you fill your deck with nothing but reverse medals. To my knowledge, we don't yet have a reverse medal that can actually buff our general attack. And if it, I can't think of anything, and if there is, it's certainly not widespread. But no, I cannot think of anything. So, let's put me in the light. There we go. Much better. Okay, so, I'm gonna show you the setup that I'm using to essentially farm this final one. The reason I'm saying it doesn't matter if you can't do all of these, is because the final enemy here, this black Gummicopter fleet, can potentially drop a boosted version of the Maleficent medal. That should be your objective. Your objective should be collect a few of them along the way. You know, you might get 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever along the way. And then, if you really, really need the medal, like if you really need it to pass everything, then fuse them together. But I might advise keeping them separate. In fact, I think I am advising to keep them separate. We've already missed the Guilting campaign, for one thing, which we could potentially get another one come the release of Union Cross. But what we definitely will get is the trait system. And if you guys don't already know, the trait system basically, there are currently 11 traits that your medals will be able to hold in the updated version of the game, the rebranding, whatever you want to call it. These traits could be anything from a resistance to the status effects, or resistance to poison, or sleep, or paralysis. A boost to either its offensive or defensive stats. I think it's either plus 1,000 attack or plus 2,000 defense. I'm not sure about all the rest, but the really big one that everyone's talking about, I think it's called double activation. I'm not sure what the English translation will be, but I believe it's called double activation. The idea behind that one is you get to use a special attack once, and then every single time you use it once, if you have that trait on the medal, you can just choose to use the medal again. Like, it won't disappear from your bottom left hand corner of the screen. Like, you'll be able to use it once, and then it'll just be sitting there again in the left hand corner of the screen, ready to be used a second time. If you choose to use the special attack a second time, it will deal 40% of the damage it's already done. So, it isn't, it's still really cool, but not incredible on offensively powerful medals, especially if they cost a lot, because it's literally like you get to use the medal again. So if it costs 3 or 4 or 5, yeah, you get a nice little boost in power. You get effectively a 40% boost in that medal's power, but at double the activation cost. For really, really cheap medals, like 1 or 2 cost, you could potentially make that work. But where that trait really, really shines is if you have a buffing medal. Now imagine my Sebastian, for example, is only cost 1, because of the skill attached to it, the SP attack gauge 1 cost. Skill. Can you imagine getting double activation on a medal like that? If you guys aren't aware, the cap for our buffs is going to go up to +7. Now currently it's at +3. AKA we can only get our general attack up to +3. The enemy's general defense down to -3. As well as the general attribute offense and defensive capabilities of ourselves and the enemies. Can only be ±3. Can you imagine if they were potentially ±7? Like you get yourself up to +7 and get the enemy's defense down to -7? That's like unfathomable considering the amount of power that we currently have, but it would very, very likely soon become the new normal. And enemies will have, you know, +3, +4 general defense up that we would have to try and get rid of somehow. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Anyway. Getting way too ahead of myself. So, boy, I was talking about traits. Right, and I was saying, if you keep some Maleficent medals separate, okay, the way to actually to roll for a trait, the same way you would roll for additional guilt, is you take 2 identical medals. The way I've been describing it is as 2 identical like numbers in the medal list. So when you go into the album there, if the medal has the same number in the album, I believe that's how they're currently rewarding a trait. So okay, like Mickey and Brooms won't work. You can use a Mickey and Brooms on your medal, but it can add another dot or it can re-roll for guilt, but you won't be able to try and roll for a trait on that. Like in the future, there's probably going to be a roll for trait medal, but as of now, one doesn't currently exist. Okay, so basically, if you keep all your 5-star Maleficents separate, and then smoosh them all together individually, one by one, so you take one at first, and you put another one into it, roll for a trait you like, I think maybe like like attack +1000 might be cool. Because you can already get a boosted one and then plus another 1000 attack. When you chip and dale that medal will get literally over 10,000 damage before any multiplier, like 10,000 base strength. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty friggin' crazy. Like 10,000 strength. You know, you put that on the Moogle of Glory Keyblade, away she goes. That could be great. But, you know, in the future, double activation could be really good as well. Like if we get one of those skills that, like, let's say Special Attack Gauge 1 or Special Attack Gauge 2 combined with Attack Boost 2 Max or Attack Boost 3 Max. That could be pretty insane, you know? You could fire off one ludicrously powerful hit and then another one for a cheap cost for, you know, still 40% more damage, but still, that's pretty crazy for one metal slot doing just a horrific amount of damage. You know, the only problem right now is the cost, but again, we could in the future get skills to mitigate that. Anyway, let's get into the event. I think I've waffled on for 8 minutes already, and I haven't even played any games yet. So I'll show you the free-to-play-ish. I say ish only because of these 2 medals here. Setup that I've been using. So if we start at the start, Sebastian get us a +3 general attack. You guys know that this is going to be pretty much a feature on all of my Keyblade setups from now on, just because it costs 1 to do so much for the Keyblade. You guys know this, I've talked about it to death. Okay. Again, my World of Final Fantasy Sephiroth and World of Final Fantasy Yuna. Honestly, I'm using a setup that I haven't used in a couple weeks, but it works. It's so good and it works. These guys are just here, like, don't worry if you don't have them. They're pretty much just there to give me a general attribute up and general attribute. Sorry. He gives a general attribute drop to all the enemies that I'm fighting, and she buffs my every attribute that I have. She can easily be replaced by Young Kairi. Easily. He can be replaced by another Young Kairi. To be perfectly honest, like, you really you really only need them for the attribute buffs that they give off. So Militia B is really my big damage dealer here. Like, we're versing groups of enemies, and this thing just rips them to shreds. So mine is fully guilted, fully chipped out with Attack Boost 3 Max. That didn't happen overnight. When I first rolled it, I rolled a 60%. So over a couple months, She's so sweet. He's almost worth... no, I'm not going to say it, but he's almost worth putting brooms on. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying put your brooms on him, but if you were like close to guilting him and you missed out, there was a time when I would have said, you need to do that, because I used nothing but Maleficent B for like 2 or 3 months. Just consistently, every single setup, Divine Rose, final slot, put him on there, and it just destroyed everything in the game. Like literally this attack boost 3 max skill got me my aerial and flounder medal. Like it's just so powerful, so powerful. Anyway, I've jerked him off for long enough. Classic Donald. I'm really excited actually, because I have 2 Classic Donalds sitting at 5 stars that I just never bothered to do anything with. So I could potentially reroll him and potentially get, you know, another 1,000, Okay, sorry, try again. Yeah, Classic Donald, you guys should all have him by now. So I'll just show you what I've done. Enough wasting time. So this setup here is not quite going to take out this guy. We're going to need one more medal to do that. Preferably something cheap and power based, because he's a speed type enemy. So this might do. Literally because it only uses cost 1. But if you have any power type friend medal, actually this might even do. Yeah, okay. Let's just use this. Actually, I might just use this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll use this because it restores gauges, and that's, if we're farming, we want to be at full gauges all the time. So let's just show you the routine. Every other quest is going to be easier than this. So we have 2 types of enemies here, speed and magic. Maleficent B heavily favours speed type and magic type enemies because it is speed type, so we're going to go right for it. General buffer, and then either attribute buffers or debuffers. Like I said, in my case, they are World of Final Fantasy medals. If you don't have them, that's fine. Any other random buffers should help you. I'm using Classic Donald on that copter fleet there. I probably didn't need to, because you see Maleficent B does 110,000 damage at the stats that I've got it at, which is like 5.5 slots. 5.5 gauges. So that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. I probably don't even need all these debuffs, to be perfectly honest, but better be safe than sorry. I'm just kind of showing you the routine that I was getting into. Just debuff, and then you can see mine's got APP. You definitely don't need that, but I'm lucky that I have it just for grinding purposes. I can just keep doing this over and over again and hopefully getting lots of SP back. Okay, now the hard part. We've got an enemy with power-based defense, which means our World of Final Fantasy medals won't actually be doing that much because he has resistance to that. Okay. Sorry, that was just weirded me out for a second there. So you can see, alright, using Classic Donald now, that is a hell of a lot of damage. An absolute ton of damage, even though it's technically a resisted hit because that's a magic medal against a speed enemy. Still did a crap load. Anyway, he's got 5 bars left. If we use Maleficent B, what happens? He survives. He's got less than 1 bar left, but he still survives. So we have a power type enemy in the back to clean up. Ooh. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so we need a bit more power than that. I just assumed that Mini would do the damage. I was very wrong. Okay, so either a medal a bit stronger than Mini, or not even a power type medal because he's weak right now to speed and magic, but actually quite defensively strong against power. Okay, so lesson learned. Let's try that again. Whoops. At the end of the day, it doesn't, you're going to be doing this a fair few times anyway. Like, I'm going to try and run this as often, like whenever I get a free moment, I'm going to try and run this just because I want as many of these Maleficent medals as possible. If I can get 2 boosted ones, that would be fantastic. There you go. someone's already got, okay, cool. Someone's already got a boosted one at 95%. That's really cool. That's really cool. Okay, so 3.36 multiplier, that's just like Hercules and Phil. It costs 5 as well, which is just like Hercules and Phil. Yeah, but this one is able to come boosted, which is really, really cool. So that's going to be a really, really powerful medal, and for me personally, I think this is going to be my first reverse magic gilded medal. Well, that's awesome. So I'm going to keep running this event over and over again until I get hopefully a couple of boosted ones. If the drop rate turns out to be decent, then I'm going to probably gilt it, but then keep farming at least like 4 or 5 more copies, just so I can reroll for traits, and hopefully reroll for a better gilt as well. I don't know if they drop at 5 or 6 stars, the boosted one. I don't think they would drop at 6 stars. I think that's very, very unlikely, but that's okay. I'm missing that guilting campaign already. I hope you made the most of it when you had it. So yeah, like I said, okay, I'm going to use this medal here. No, I'm not. No, I'll use Lyxine. Yeah, I'll use Lyxine so you guys don't get upset for not having a gilded key art. Lyxine's a great single target medal. It should do plenty of damage. So, same again. That's better. Okay, let's try and not debuffing with unit there, just to see the difference. Okay, so we have to deal with just over 80,000 damage, and we still do 100, so that's fine. So like I said, you don't even need these World of Final Fantasy medals. I'm just using them because I'm lazy. I use them on everything, and I like having them in those slots, so I like keeping them there, but you really don't even need them. Just something to buff your attributes, particularly speed attributes, so like, what is Kingdom Hearts 2 Kairi? Okay. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 Kairi, I believe, buffs your speed by 2 stages. It should be perfect. Anything to lower their general defense would be perfect. Okay, let's try again. Item drop perks. You need item drop perks to speed this process up. I was only able to get an item drop perk off my little earring thing there, the little charm. If you have a better setup than me, like, okay, I only have +6, so if you've managed to get a better setup than me, let me know, because I would love to know how to speed this process up, basically. Because I've done it once already. Oh yeah, I forgot to use Nova. I was like, why did that survive? Okay, he's got over 1 bar this time, and hopefully Lyxine does 20k. She does. Okay, great. So Lyxine finishes off the Black Copter fleet, and we only used 4 gauges doing that. So we can potentially do this a few times without having to restore SP, which is good. Anything to speed up the process is good. And now we check, did we get the boosted medal? No. Okay, so we got Moogles and a 5-star experience medal. If you did get the medal, it will show up here, but you won't know beforehand. So essentially keep running it over and over and over again. I might make a whole video dedicated to what to do with traits in general. In fact, I might do that rather than trying to explain it here when I don't even have the material. I might do just a trait explain video. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that instead. Okay guys, well yeah, I'm going to keep running this a few more times. I wish you the best of luck trying to get the boosted medal to drop. If you want an explanation of why, like a better explanation of why I'm saying don't fuse them together yet, leave me a message, I'll explain, and then I'll do a proper video as soon as I can. And yeah, just in terms of the rest of the event, actually no, I will explain that, give me a second. Okay, so as a friend medal, I actually would not recommend Lyxine, because I forgot that Lyxine gets weaker if you have less gauges, so I went to I went to go kill the copter again with only 1 gauge left and use Lyxine, and it did a pitiful amount of damage. Okay, so I would use anything else, anything single target, decent strength, except like scene basically. If you're going to farm without getting your SP back, or I mean, if you have an SP restoring medal, go for it. It's great. But yeah, for these earlier ones, if you want to pick up a copy of the reverse medal, sorry, of the 5-star medal, all you really need is a decent booster and a decent Fred medal, and it will carry you through pretty much all these early ones. So there's really nothing to worry about. Like 3 or more reverse medals is really not a problem. 1 decent booster, like your Sebastian or whatever, 1 decent medal yourself, and then a really good friend medal, like a Gilted Key Art, if you can get lucky to find that, or a Gilted Malusha B actually could help you quite a lot. Put on the right Keyblade and you'll get the little rewards. Could be, they're not all Moogles, are they? Okay, I guess they're all Moogles. I thought they were like Chips and Dales or something. Nope, I'm wrong. Okay, yeah, the jewels later on, that's right. So you need the right Keyblade to get the jewels later on. They're only 20 though, but it's 200. Sorry, it's 300 if you get the jewels for every single quest. So, hey, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Hey, that's pretty good. Like I said, I haven't even done it for this one yet using 4 reverse medals because it's a booster and then nothing else really. I suppose I could do it with Divine Rose now though. Just do it in 2 different hits. Yeah, that's my advice. Do it in 2 hits. On Olympia, there's no way I could do that because all the good slots are upright slots. There's no way I could do it, but I've already done it with Olympia once. Got my Moogle. So yeah, I'll definitely do it again now with Divine Rose and try and pick up. Yeah, I might as well just do it now. I just need a reverse Keyblade setup, so 1 upright medal, and then I'll make all these 4 reverse. So do I have that set up already? No, I've got my 5-star setup from today's Daily Jewel Challenge. Okay, so I've got a Malusha A there. Reverse, and then I might even keep Chip. No, I can't. That's right, I can't. Yeah, look at my reverse medals. They're absolutely terrible. Sorry, it's a premium, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to buff and then use Malusha B. That's all I'm going to do. Buff and then Malusha B, and I'll be fine. The equip 5 reverse medals. That's going to be difficult though, just because without a buffer, you could run into some troubles. But yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You've got way more than enough to gild the medal before that point. Like there's an extra 3 here if you need them, but if you're going to be farming this last one for a boosted drop rate, that's going to be way more useful to you than 1 more reroll. I would just keep farming this over and over again if I were you, honestly. Yep. Let's get into it. I've gotten into the habit of using this key art so many times, and I don't want to use it just for you guys. Just, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whoa, what am I doing? Wrong one. This one, thank you. Okay, I'll use this Minnie and Daisy again just because I want gauges back. That's all I want. Filthy gauge haul. Okay, so pick the one you're strongest against. Malusha B will absolutely tear these guys to shreds, so I'm picking the blue type enemies. Like I said, the medals you have there don't even matter, just Malusha B, chop, just instant obliteration. So blue and green, let's go for blue. Why not? I'll debuff it once. I don't think it needs it, but better be safe than sorry. I actually kind of hope this one does survive. It won't, but I hope it does, yeah. I hope it survives just so I can use Minnie and Daisy on it. Okay, and we're at the end. Basically, all my initial guide was just running to the end as quickly as possible and just using Nova on the enemies. And it worked for like the first few, and then Malusha B pretty much cleaned up the rest. So, unfortunately, you really didn't miss much by not seeing the very sleepy hour or so I was recording beforehand. But yeah, that should be enough to get me my other medal. Yeah. Again, so I've got plenty. I have enough to gilt it right now, but I am going to hang on just because I want me some trades. I think I will gilt it soon though, when I have like lots and lots of rerolls, because that'll inspire me to keep grinding, to keep trying to get more and more. If I've got like none left and the deadline's approaching, I'll be like, ah, God, I've got to get back in there and keep running this event. Anyway, that's more than enough. You've seen my setup. If you need any more advice, if you don't have Militia B, we will find something else. But I mean, like Sigbar B works really, really well here if you can keep feeding it SP. Like if you maybe put a Chip and Dale beforehand, ungilted is fine. Just put a Chip and Dale in here, or even two. Sebastian, one or two Chip and Dales, and I don't know, Classic Donald actually works kind of well there to take out the power enemy next to this guy. And then Sigbar B at the end. Might work for you. Anyway, I'm going to keep running this event. Best of luck to you guys, and I will see you all soon. Alright guys, all the best. Bye. Okay. If you don't have the medals that I have, or if it's not working for you, let me know. We can talk about plenty of other different ways of taking these guys down. We haven't even talked about using Dispel yet to try and actually take advantage of the fact that he is a speed type enemy, and using some power type medals. We could do Olympia setups. I've done about 5 or 6 runs now, and I still haven't got the dropped medal. So I'll put in the comments how long it takes me to get one. But yeah. Alright guys, that's it. I'm uploading it now. So see you soon. All the best.